Okay guys, so once again, this is not a video I wanted to have to make, but it's life, and I will show you guys when the good and the bad stuff happens. So out of every vehicle that I've had, this is probably the most, I guess, worried I've ever been when it comes down to a breakdown. So I'll give you guys a quick break down below. We were at Knott's Scary Farm on our way in, like a normal day, driving in to the park. When we were on our way there, we were waiting in line to get into the parking lot. We were probably in line for like 20 minutes. I did start to notice that the car started to sound a little bit different and the fans cut on. That was my first thought of, that's a bit different. We're just sitting here idling. It wasn't like super hot or anything like that. It was kind of a normal day. When we finally got into the parking lot, and right before we were about to park, we had to park in like this weird section because it was super packed. The car gave me a notification saying, hey, it's overheating. I was like, whoa, that's a bit different. I was looking at the temp gauge. The temp gauge didn't really seem like it was hot or anything like that. It just, the car was like, oh, it's overheating. So it went from like 0 to nothing really fast. So I was like, oh, that's not good. We parked and I was like, all right, cool. I'll check it when we get back to the car. We go in, had a good time. I filmed the video. Once again, that'll be linked down below. Came back out to the car, and yeah, I noticed immediately inside of the grill there was fluid. On the floor there was more fluid, and I was like, okay, something is not good. First thing I did, try to see if there was coolant inside the reservoir. There still was. Then I turned the vehicle on, and it did not like that. The car sounded terrible, and I was like, okay, cool. Turned it off, checked the oil, and it looked like the oil was low. So I was like, okay, that's not good. So this is either, it's gotta be oil, but it just seemed weird because when I looked underneath the car, there was no like oil leaks from the actual engine itself. So the reason why at first I was a little bit confused. There was still like some oil in the vehicle, not a ton. And I was like, this is not good for us to drive home. I was trying to like look, see if there was like any stores or anything that was close that we can just go to get some more motor oil to put inside the vehicle. But at this point in time, it was like midnight. Nothing was really open. So what we had to do, I literally drove, like, because the parking lot we were in was so jam-packed, like I could barely get the truck out of there. I had to back up an entire row. We had to park on the grass. I just drove, it was maybe like a half a mile up the street, just to a bigger parking lot, and I had to call AAA and to get the vehicle towed into, well, basically back here, which actually we have all that footage, which was actually pretty cool. So I will put that footage in here now. So yeah, so the negative side of that is I have to get the vehicle back up and running. I'm very grateful that it didn't happen anywhere else. Like if we were out off-roading somewhere and work done there, they said I can get it towed in. So my biggest thing is I have been trying to like look online to see if anyone else has had this issue. Haven't really seen it. So my thought is I believe it's the AC / transmission cooler in the front. I think the oil is coming from there. If it's not there, it's something in the front of the vehicle, something in the return line, something, because it's all dumped out in the front. My theory is it's coming from somewhere in this front section. I believe this. I've tried to check any of the lines where it would have been coming from, but I don't see any oil leaks from the top. From the bottom, I can still see a massive amount of oil. You can see it's coming. It like pulled up right there. It does have like a red tint to it, and I just put some cardboard underneath to see like just the rest of it is still dumping out. Still trying to figure out where it's officially coming from. Looks like from the engine and like underneath it and everything, there's like nothing. It's all coming out from this front passenger side. So my only thought is it's got to be some of these return lines. That's what I'm thinking it's all coming from. So hopefully we can get that fixed. Right passenger side of the vehicle, there's no oil literally underneath the engine or coming from the top. No like leakage or anything like that. It's really just the front passenger side. It's like something happened up there, everything dumped out. So I'm kind of like at this point in time, like I don't know what it is. It's really hard to see. I took off the this front cover to try to get a better look, and it's still very hard to see from the top. You can't really see anything. Getting underneath the vehicle, looking up, I can see like where it must have been leaking. It might have been leaking for like a while. My theory is it was leaking at some point in time, and then just slowly it just kept going, and then like when we were at the place like waiting in line, it was just dripping, and about time we got into the parking lot, it just ran like low, and that caused the overheating, because there was no engine oil. The engine oil was pretty low. That's the reason why at first I was like, oh, is this like the lifter issue that people are saying they get with Hemis? That's what I was thinking at first, but I'm not really sure. So I'm really hoping that there isn't any damage done to the engine, because it did have a misfire code. That's the reason why I'm like, I don't want to drive it. I don't want to do anything. I kind of want to just like get it checked out. So that's kind of where I am right now with the vehicle. I'll give you guys an update once we officially know like what's going on with it. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going with. So we have a lot of stuff that's going on. The other thing is though, the Corvette is kind of still stuck behind the truck, so I can't even like get I can't get the Corvette out because of it's stuck behind the truck. What was also interesting, putting the truck inside of neutral, you have to like physically pull the switch to put it into neutral to get it up on the tow truck. So that was a whole nother thing. But yeah, I'll let you guys know exactly what's going on with that. So, but the other dilemma that I have is I really want to get the truck back up and running, or figure out what's going on sooner rather than later. We are going to have to go out of town like soon. So about time this video is being uploaded, we're probably out of town. I have some people in town as soon as we get back. So I really want to have the truck back, because of having the Corvette and then having the Mustang, we can't really take people or like drive more than 2 people, if that makes sense. So really want to get the truck back up and running. So I really kind of want to see if I can get this thing taken care of sooner rather than later. So that's the reason why I'm kind of like, oh, I'm in a bind right now, because this kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But luckily, if it does take longer, we do have the other vehicles to use. But the real negative side is this is probably the most concerned I've ever been with a vehicle breaking down, because this is something where I'm like, this could be bad. My biggest issue, my biggest concern is if the car ran with low oil for a extended period. Now, I don't believe that it did. I believe like a while. I don't think so, but I'm just thinking, what if it did? What if it did do actual, permanent damage to the actual engine itself? That would really suck. But I don't know. I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed. Everything's good. So we'll see what happens. So I don't really know for sure, but I'll definitely keep you guys updated about everything that's going on with that. But the cool thing is though, the next video should be a video about us and our travels back to Buffalo, New York. Once again, this time we're just flying back. We've done so many trips driving. Literally, we just did the trip with this truck, driving it from LA to Buffalo. and back, which was great. But we're just jumping on a flight. We gotta go there real quick for a couple days and come back. So that will probably be the next video. There's some cool stuff that's all the way across the country inside of 2.5 days with the Ram Rebel from LA back to Buffalo, New York. Check that video out. See you guys in the next one.